and Adonis by Shakespeare. We come to the line starting from line 900. Thus stands she in a trembling ecstasy, till cheering up, her senses sore dismayed, she tells them 'tis a causeless fantasy and childish error that they are afraid, bids them leave quaking, bids them fear no more, and with that word she spied the hunted boar, whose frothy mouth be painted all with red, like milk and blood being mingled both together. The second fear through all her sinews spread, which madly hurries her, she knows not whither. This way she runs, and now she will no further, but back retires to rate the boar for murder. 1,000 spleens bear her 1,000 ways, she treads the path that she untreads again. Her more than haste is mated with delays, like the proceedings of a drunken brain, full of respects, yet not at all respecting, in hand with all things, not at all affecting. Here kennelled in a brake she finds a hound, and asks the wary caitiff for his master, and there another licking of his wound against Vernum's sores, the only sovereign plaster. And here she meets another sadly scowling, to whom she speaks, and he replies with the howling. When he has ceased his ill-sounding noise, another flip-mouthed mourner back in grime against the Walken volleys out his voice. Another and another answer him, clapping their proud tails to the ground below, shaking their scratched ears, bleeding as they go. Look how the world's poor people are amazed at apparitions, signs, and prodigies, whereon with fearful eyes they long have gazed, infusing them with dreadful prophecies. So she at these sad sighs draws up her breath, and sighing it again exclaims on death. Hard-favored tyrant, ugly, meager, lean, hateful divorce of love, thus chides she death, grim grinding ghost, earth's worm, who doth thou mean to stifle beauty and to steal his breath? Who, when he liveth, his breath and beauty set, gloss on the rose, smell to the violet. Quote, if he be dead, oh no, it cannot be, seeing his beauty, thou shouldst strike at it. Oh yes, it may, thou hast no eyes to see, but hatefully at random doth thou hit. Thy mark is feeble age, but thy false dart mistakes that aim, and cleaves on infant's heart. Hadst thou but bid beware, then he had spoke, and hearing him, thy power had lost his power. The destinies were cursed thee for the stroke. They bid thee crop a weed, thou pluckest the flower. Love's golden arrow at him should have fled, and not death's even dart to strike him dead. Dost thou drink tears that thou provokest such weeping? What may a heavy groan advantage thee? Why hast thou cast into eternal sleeping those eyes that taught all other eyes to see? Now nature cares not for thy mortal vigor, since her best work is ruined with thy rigor. Here, overcome as one full of despair, she veiled her eyelids, who like sluices stopped the crystal tide that from her two cheeks fair in the sweet channel of her bosom dropped. But through the floodgates breaks the silver rain, and with his strong course opens them again. Oh, how her eyes and tears did lend and borrow, her eyes seen in the tears, tears in her eye, both crystals where they viewed each other's sorrow. Sorrow that friendly sighs sought just to dry, but like a stormy day, now wind, now rain, sighs dry her cheeks, tears make them wet again. Variable passions throng her constant woe, as striving who should best become her grief, all entertained, each passion labors so, that every present sorrow seemeth chief, but none is best. Then join they all together, like many clouds, consulting for foul weather. By this, far off, she hears some huntsman holla. A nurse's song never pleased her babe so well. The dire imagination she did follow. This sound of hope does labor to expel, for now reviving joy brings her rejoice, and flatters her. It is Adonis's voice. Whereat her tears begin to turn their tide, being imprisoned in her eye like pearls in glass. Yet sometimes falls on oriental drop beside, which her cheek melts, scorning it should pass to wash the foul face of the sluttish ground, who is but drunken when she seemeth drowned. O hard-believing love, how strange it seems, not to believe and yet too credulous. Thy weal and woe are both of them extremes. Despair and hope make thee ridiculous. The one doth flatter thee in thoughts unlikely, in likely thoughts the other kills thee quickly. Now she unweaves the web that she hath wrought. Adonis lives, and death is not to blame. It is not she that calleth him all to naught. Now she adds honors to his hateful name. She cleaps him king of graves, and grave for kings, imperious, supreme of all mortal things. Quote, No, no, quoteth she, sweet death, I did but jest. Yet pardon me, I felt a kind of fear, whens I met the boar, that bloody beast, which knows no pity, but is still severe. Then, gentle shadow, trust I must confess, I railed on thee, fearing my love's decrease. 'Tis not my fault, the boar provoked my tongue, but wrecked on him invisible commander. 'Tis he, foul creature, that doth done thee wrong. I did but act, he's author of my slander. Grief hath no two tongues, and never woman yet could rule them both, without 10 women's wit. Thus, hoping that Adonis is alive, her rash suspect she doth extenuate, and that her beauty may the better thrive, what death she humbly doth insinuate, tells him of trophies, statues, tomes, and stories, his victories, his triumphs, and his glories. O love, quoth she, how much a fool was I to be of such a weak and silly mind, to wail as death who lives and must not die, till mutual overthrow of mortal kind, for he being dead with him is beauty slain, and beauty dead, black chaos comes again. Fie, fie, fond love, thou art as full of fear as one with treasure laden, hemmed with thieves, trifles unwitnessed with eye or ear, thou coward heart with false bethinking grieves. Even at this word she hears a merry horn, what at she leaps that was but late forlorn. As falcon to the lure away she flies, the grass stoops not, she treads on it so light, and in her haste unfortunately spies the foul boar's conquest on her fair delight, which seen her eyes as murdered with the view, like stars ashamed of day, themselves withdrew. Or as the snail whose tender horns, being hit, shrinks backward in his shelly cave with pain, and there all smothered up in shade doth sit, long after fearing to creep forth again, so at his bloody view her eyes are fled into the deep dark cabins of her head. where they resign their office and their light to the disposing of her troubled brain, who bids them still consort with ugly night, and never wound the heart with looks again, who like a king perplexed in his throne by their suggestion gives a deadly groan, whereat each tributary subject quakes as when the wind, imprisoned in the ground, struggling for passage, earth's foundation shakes, which with cold terror doth men's minds confound. This mutiny each part doth so surprise, that from their dark beds once more leapt her eyes, and being opened through unwilling light, upon the wide wound that the boar had drenched in his soft flank, whose wanted lily white with purple tears that his wound wept, was drenched. No flower was nigh, no grass, herb, leaf, or weed, but stole his blood and seemed with him to bleed. This solemn sympathy both Venus noteth. Over one shoulder doth she hang her head. Dumbly she passions, frantically she doteth. She thinks he could not die, he is not dead. Her voice is stopped, her joints get to bow. Her eyes are mad, but they have leapt till now. Upon his hurt she looks so steadfastly, but that her sight dazzling makes the wound seem three, and then she reprehends her mangling eye, that makes more gashes where no breath should be. Her face seems twain, each several limb is doubled, for oft the eye mistakes the brain being troubled. My tongue cannot express my grief for one, and yet, quoth she, behold two Adonis dead. My sighs are blown away, my salt tears gone. Mine eyes are turned to fire, my heart to lead. Heavy heart's lead melt at mine eyes' red fire. So shall I die by drops of hot desire. Alas, poor world, what treasure hast thou lost? What face remains alive that's worth the viewing? Whose tongue is music now? What canst thou boast of things long since, or anything ensuing? The flowers are sweet, their colors fresh and trim, but true sweet beauty lived and died with him. Bonnet nor veil henceforth no creature wear, nor sun nor wind will ever strive to kiss you. Having no fair to lose, you need not fear. The sun doth scorn you, and the wind doth hiss you. But when Adonis liveth, sun and sharp air lurketh like two thieves to rob him of his fare. We actually read from line 900 to 1085. We don't know how long it goes, so we'll have to find out. Reading Venus and Adonis by Shakespeare. 1085.